Pumpkin, what's wrong?
This place is haunted!
Sweetie, I need you to give this place a chance. No, we're out.
Cut. Thank you.
We making a movie!
Three, two, one, flash.
I'm telling you, there's ghosts in this hallway. I felt them. Let's put it that way.
Old school Disneyland is my jam. Haunted Mansion is the ride you go to first.
I have 3 kids, so I've been on this ride many times.
I'd actually worked at Disneyland in film school.
I remember being absolutely horrified. I was scared, screaming, all this riding thing, wah, wah.
I came into this with a bunch of things that I just knew I needed to see as just a fan of the ride. The hitchhiking ghost, for instance.
Of course, the Tiger Lady portrait, April to December.
The cemetery.
The bats, stanchions.
The suit of armor.
Gliding over the dining room.
The bust of the heads.
We all know what we want out of this. My job is to surprise us along the way, but if I don't deliver the candy, then I haven't really done my job. I wanted to be really faithful to the ride. There's a lot of brilliant storytelling and inspiration there. But the thing about the ride is that it's all very suggestive. It's a dark room ride. You get the sense that there's this much bigger world, a galaxy of characters from every era. What was here when I came on board was this beautiful script by Katie Dippold, who took us outside of the story of the mansion itself. The mansion is sort of a given. It exists, fully formed. It has a history. Our characters are discovering it.
We're here, Mom.
The writer Katie instinctively knew if we tell a story about a group of people who are facing their fears in this haunted mansion that is kind of designed around that concept, they're just gonna go together really well. So really my job here was just not to mess that up. Great. Cut.
Flash.
He's over there.
I love Justin. He's very creative, and also he has like a childlike essence. This is a really playful set.
We've been working on the movie for a few months. Everybody loves each other.
Seeing this cast come together, we bonded. It was fun to go to work every day.
Oh, me and Rosario, it's like she's my actual mom. On and off set, that's my mama. Hi, Mom.
My dream for this movie was to put together a wonderful ensemble that was going to infuse this script with so much life and eccentricity. To see Danny DeVito.
What was the cholesterol on this woman?
Oh my God. Owen Wilson.
I wanted to be in the show business since about the age of 5, 6, 7, 8.
Oh my God. Tiffany Haddish.
Did you let my bag hit the floor?
Rosario Dawson.
Deal with this scene.
And Lakeith Stanfield.
Shut up.
Who you telling me shut up?
I'm kind of like this every day on the set.
Mark.
One of the big things that was important to me coming into the movie is to really place this mansion in New Orleans. I mean, we almost take it for granted that it's in the middle of New Orleans Square at Disneyland. You have the beignets and stuff. But like, what does that mean?
It matters where you shoot. The energy of the place is really important.
It's unlike any city in America.
New Orleans literally was a melting pot of cultures that in other parts of the country could not figure out a way to get along. In New Orleans, people figured out how to make gumbo and etouffee and jazz music.
We have 2 weeks of photography down in New Orleans. We're actually building Ben's apartment in the only vacant lot in the French Quarter we were able to build a facade in.
It gives a gravitas to this place that already feels magical.
We can see those exteriors, the bayou, the French Quarter, the Garden District, things like that that'll be so rich for the film.
My experience in Louisiana was being strapped to a chair and dragged through the woods. I didn't like hotsy tots, need a lot of good food. I just got abused in the woods.
God, very nice. Much better.
We felt it was really important to be able to build the mansion in its entirety.
We had almost 40 days of shooting in there, so it justified building this huge mansion.
I think it's really important for our actors too. I think being able to wander a hallway this big behind us and be in the expanse and the scope, it feels sort of epic when you're in our mansion.
The first time you open that stage door, it is big. We are like tiny little peanuts walking around in this set.
I nearly cried when I walked onto this set. When I tell you the level of detail, it's spectacular.
The scale, you didn't have to pretend.
These are not just movie sets. These are beautifully constructed pieces of art.
You feel like you got out of the chair on the ride and you got to walk around and really experience it.
There was just so many details to pull from. In the stretching room, the original wallpaper, it's a really fine pattern, and we were worried that it was going to be too fine on film, so we had to make it a little bit larger.
It took not one or two sofas like the ride has, but literally 10 sofas, a collection of armchairs. We recreated the organ down to the candelabra on either side.
Me, my size, I can walk into the fireplace. I mean, I'm not gonna, but I'm just saying the rooms are expansive, 25, 30-foot ceilings.
We built the entire facade of the house on the back lot here. The second story was put on digitally, but we have the gates and the path up to the house, live oaks dripping with Spanish moss. We did work a lot of that flavor into the set deck.
The very first orientation to the movie, we got to go to the park after hours. We walked through the Haunted Mansion with the lights off, and then we did it a second time with the lights on to really see all the detail.
It really did become meticulous for our production designer, Darren Guilford, looking at every door handle, every piece of wallpaper, and making sure that wherever we could use those in our mansion, we would.
A lot of the Disney folks and a lot of the Imagineers, they got to come to visit, which was great. We did a big tour where we had a lot of standing set. I was a little nervous about it.
For them, when those front doors of the mansion opened up and they got to walk through the hallway, into the stretching room, into the library, into the dining room.
And they were very gracious.
Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. That for me was one of the most satisfying times.
Shout out to Jeffrey Kurland, our costume designer, but also a character designer at the same time.
It's such an incredible project as far as design is concerned and creativity.
Every character, he would have these research sheets, what time period they might have come from, what people dressed like in that time period.
It's late 1700s all the way to the present time. I would say Madame Leota was the most difficult.
I went for measurements. It takes 5 minutes. I've never had measurements like this. Finger to wrist, wrist to elbow. Why?
Before you can put her in the crystal ball, you have to flesh out the entire character.
They showed me the drawings for the costumes. That informed everything.
I have a wonderful crew, terrific cutter fitters and tailors. I couldn't be happier.
The fans will have a fun time to go, oh, wow, I never saw that room. Where's that part of the cemetery?
In our house, when you're in the kitchen, which is a room that the mansion doesn't have, and then you look out the windows to the back of the house and there's the cemetery. You never see the back of the house in Anaheim. It gave us free rein to sort of place things and say that that's where they are.
The Imagineers were incredibly helpful, getting us familiar with the history of the attraction, the people, and we wanted to pay tribute to a lot of those Imagineers as well, and we have. There's carvings of names in walls.
This is Big Rolly Burgers. That's for Rolly Crump, one of the big Imagineers. Same with Geist Bourbon. Pickwick, one of the ghosts. We actually have Pickwick hanging from the chandelier. Little things that most people wouldn't pick up on, but we wanted to do that.
And then, of course, all the paintings.
We had artists all over the world bringing their special vibe to these well-known paintings from the attraction. I've had to have an art curator whose only job was to take care of wrangling the pieces of art that we incorporated into the movie.
As a prop person, Madame Leota's crystal ball, it jumped out like, oh, that's the cool prop I have to get right on.
Madame Leota!
Obviously, huge visual effects. We made mini versions of these.
Madam Leota?
I would say the biggest challenge was Ben's camera. This is such a featured prop in the film, and we had nothing to really base it on. In the ghost camera world, you'd see meters and light detectors, and we just sort of made this on the prop truck.
2, 1, flash.
He's an engineer, so it has to look professional, but it needs to have a little bit of a campy feel to it. That was really cool.
The special effects that are used in the ride go back to the 1800s, the Pepper's Ghost effect. Even though you know there's a trick being played on you, there's a physicality to it. There's something that exists somewhere. Because you can't figure it out, it's just charming. You just go along with it. And I wanted to do that as much as I could with the movie special effects. Even when you saw something that was preposterous, it's not quite CG. Is it a puppet? What is that?
Audiences are way too smart anymore. That floating candelabra could have been digital. Easy.
But I do think when you're starting from a baseline of something practical that you see in camera and that everyone is on board with, it makes that process in post so much easier.
We're doing things in real time that you would normally not. You'll shoot a scene, Justin, he'll do it again with a twist on it with the actors, and you are able to layer those together, immediately see it. You don't have to wait through millions of ones and zeros to get a result.
And 3, and 2, and right, and 4, and jump, yeah.
Joel Mitchell, our special effects coordinator, did an amazing job being able to come up with a lot of these practical gags.
In the movie, several of the characters go for rides in the chairs through the house, very much like the Doom buggies. The one who takes the most memorable ride is probably Harriet the Psychic, and she's sitting in Madame Leota's chair, which looks like a very cool Haunted Mansion version of the Doom buggy. That was super fun to create from scratch.
When I was lifted up in that harness, here we go. I'm sure it was only because I didn't have to do it very many times, but when I did do it, I felt like I'm flying. I'm flying right now.
Oh, that feels good once you're down.
It's things like that that are just a lot of fun. You create illusion. That's what we do.
At the end of the day, what is it about the ride that's so powerful?
I hope it is a little bit scary. I mean, scary is fun.
We're hoping that we can entertain.
You find yourself laughing, and you find yourself actually getting through it.
It's beautiful and fun.
I'd love to mention how much creative, artistic talent it takes to pull off a movie like this.
People are getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning to go on stage. There's always a smile on their face.
From sets, costumes, props, cinematography, everybody is working so closely together.
I think that's the thing that makes the movie so special. You want to feel like this is true to everything we love about this ride.
It's just magic, and it's really, really exciting.
See what I mean? Did you see that? I felt it. Oh no, I ain't going in there. I'll see y'all. Goodbye.